Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, the Smith in the Black channel here, Ticker Tiger, and if it's Tuesday, it's a Strat Attack show. So let's get into the urban assault vehicle and see what we can find. So one of the things we want to know about here in the SPY is all the inside months. And we've been talking about this all month. We talked about it at the end of last month. We were expecting this. We got it. Outside of some big movement here later in the week. We do have earnings coming out. We got your Googles and stuff like that coming out, Apple, stuff like that. So a lot of things locked up. And so then we get an inside day here, and it's massive. It's SPY, Diamonds, Qs, small cappers, SMH, all that kind of stuff. So it's once again on a Tuesday. Either side of this is going to get our attention if we can get out of there. And then once you do, you have to get out of the mother bar, this thing as well. So we would prefer the downside, usually we do anyway, but we would prefer the downside because there's more two downs on the week. So we'd rather follow through on that than try and come up with a three, albeit if it does start to go up. The good part would be is we're trying to get out of this monthly somehow. So at this point, the SPY actually is closer to the downside. If we can get that downside monthly, and then whammo, QQQ, and get this doji doing nothing. So you want to be aware of that. And so when we expected the inside days and inside months, you can expect to chop back and forth. And so the reason it's you don't have to define something as chop. You can define it as price discovery starting over again. And what I mean by that is if you go to the 15-minute SPY, when you get your inside day and you start going on the inside day, you're going to see this. Price discovery. This is a slight higher high of that. This is a slight lower low of that. Right? There's your tight broadening formation, and that's why you want to avoid that. It's very tight, right? It's like, oh, well, let's see if we can break out by a few cents. Let's see if we can break down by a few cents and doing nothing, right? So you want to be aware of that. So we got a ton of inside days. Going to watch either side of those breaks coming in for tomorrow. And earnings. We had Microsoft, we had FSLR, got a bunch of other things. So instead of going through them at night, do it in the morning. Let the conference calls start rolling, let them figure all that kind of stuff out, right? So what we did have is SRRK today. And it's important to understand how to get involved in something like this. Because the last thing you want to see is a green bar like this on the day, and you didn't get involved at all, right? And just said, wow, beast mode, blah, 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 and you don't get involved. You want to be able to get involved and find out how to do that, right? So if we go down to, if we go to the 60 here, so it blasts off, right? And then it goes inside on the 60, right here. And then we're looking for the measured move, the up, the sideways, and the bam. And that was over here, over 25.70. As soon as it breaks that, you can take that, right? In the hopes that you're going to take this out at least, right? And the magnitude is still pretty good. And you got more. And then if you go to a 30, you'll see this is how you get in early on that, right? Because these two here are the inside 60, right? Because they're inside of these two. This is what your inside 60 looks like on a 30. Right? So here was your 60 break, your 25.70. But the way you can beat that break is because this poked down. This is a 2-2 reversal on the 30 at over 25.23. And then, boom, you could add to it over 25.70. Right? Now you've got your buy, now your add, and then it really blasts off. And it's all kind of good stuff like that. Then at the end of the day, when you have an inside 30 here, and you see the low of this was 7 cents lower. So when it came back in here and went green, you can take that because that's going to go rev strat on these things, right? Because you've got full time frame continuity to the upside. Right? It's going to reverse this inside bar attempt to break by just a few cents. So as soon as it goes green, the opening 27.81, you're in. Boom, there's another $2 off of that. For more ninja folk, if you get onto a fiver, all these setups are going to look very similar, right? You'll see something like this here. The 2 up, then the 2 down. That alerts you that we'll be looking for a reversal back up. Right? Down, down, boom, back through previous range, 2-2 reversal, and then these 3 become an outside bar of all that, you see? So just like that 30-minute where you had the inside bar and then it pokes down here at the end of the day, then you can do this. As soon as this goes green here, the opening of 27.81, you can take it there because we're going to go an outside bar of that. Then it goes inside 5 to finish off the day. Right, so you got a little bit more out of that, and then it closes an inside fiver. But you want to know how to get in on stuff like that. An EXAS today. Here, an EXAS on the 60 goes up, goes inside, pokes down, but you're nowhere near taking this out, and you're nowhere near taking this month red. You're nowhere near taking the week red. And that daily, nope. So when that comes down on the 60, do that same thing. That's how you get the 1-3 reversal rev strat. As soon as this goes green, it opened at 125.11, you're in. Boom, this thing shoots up to 140, 190. And the good thing about that is once it goes into new highs and it has potential exhaustion risk, you take it back down. You can short it here and take the 2-2 reversal off of that below 135.30 and take it back the other way. And so it's important to understand how to make the most out of these things that are moving, as opposed to, I'm scared and I'm not going to trade it. It's too wild and crazy. It's like, it's not. It's very orderly, right? And if you get nervous, you take your size down. And as you can see, you can add to your winners, right? And then the other mistake a lot of people make is, oh boy, I got out just in time before it tanked. I'm like, well, if it's going to tank, you want to reverse because you've already made money, right? So you can afford to get stopped out if it goes back up or what have you, right? But you've already you've traded with their money. So, and this is a 60 reversal. You can take that, right? Don't just get out. If you have a reversal against you, use that reversal and get in there. All right, so we've got QDEL. In QDEL, here's another thing we look for, real simple on the 60. Take out one side, that's a 2 up, that's a 2 down, and boom. Right at the end of the day, as soon as it takes out this 270.48, you're in, because these are going to be an outside bar of this thing here, you see? So you want to be able to know how to get in on that, because when that works, remember yesterday here, started off inside, rev strat to start the week, back through previous range, right? 1, 2, 2. And when you have all these pivots, anybody short can be short against this stuff, and hopefully you can take all this stuff out. But that's what helps you get going, because if you look at the different time frames on the weekly, here, that's a 2 up, that's a 2 down, and that's a 2 back up right here on 262.50, right? That's $11 ago, right? And that reconfirms the month. Here, it's an inside month to the upside, you see? Okay, so QDL, we'll see. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's exhaustive, and I'll get to a lot of the inside weeks to the downside and stuff here in a second. ARNA, and this has been in the videos all weekend. Here, the 2 up, the 2 down, and now bam, these are an outside bar of all that. So now you're into exhaustion, and that doesn't mean it's going to reverse. You'd have to have a reversal against you, but it might slow down a little bit. It did what it was supposed to do. Come back through the previous range and take them all out, right? So these guys become an outside bar of all that. Excuse me, so that works, and we like nice long green bars, and that's what you have on the month. We also have that ACAD. ACAD, taking that out, 2-2 reversal on the month, right? And then the same 2-2-2 weekly. 2 up, 2 down, and boom, take these guys out, and your hopes is you can still come up through all this range here. But we'll see. If we go to ARWR, ARWR, weekly, nice and green, takes out last week's highs, and that's just a continuation from the inside week here. And then on the month, it's an outside bar expansion, 3-2 to the upside, and it's been higher. So we can watch that with the bios and see how that goes. Etsy. And Etsy, once again, the hammer counter shooter, 2-2-2 on the month, and it took it out. And so then you go into exhaustion risk. There was your 2-2 reversal on the weekly for back down. And then as soon as it opens this week on a Monday and starts going back up, because of that monthly's bright green, here, now your full time frame continuity back to the upside. You're green on the week, green on the day, and 2 yesterday. All right. And then anytime you can get that 60 going, green, you're good to go. So you got a little stuck in here today. So we'll see if you can get out of that kind of a deal. But just pointing that out. So if you go to GH, there you go. In GH, you're going to be aware that you're still inside month. But the longer time frame, the more you can trade a 1. Like, I'm not going to not trade an inside year because there's going to be plenty of movement in there. I'm not going to trade an inside day, most likely, unless it's something with a big range like a Tesla or something like that. But if you go to the weekly, here, once again, this is my support level. Is it? Stop them out. Boom, 2-2 reversal. Now coming back through previous range. So you can take that stuff out. Had a nice move there. We'll see if there's anything more there. If we go to Match.com, Match does this on the month. 2 up, the 2 down, and boom, these guys become an outside bar of all that, right? And so if you come in on the weekly, last week, just shy of these guys. You're looking to finish them off, and that's exactly what they did today. Bam, off she goes. So we'll see if there's any more. Like I said, there's exhaustion risk here and other things that are just stuck there doing nothing. So if we go to shoe on the week coming up, and see this? Chop, chop, chop. Stop them out down in here, then coming back through the previous range, right? That's what you want. And so if you go to the daily or the monthly, you're going to see this. 2 down, 2 up, right? And we can expect reversals because all of this is stuck in here. So you can see how chopped these guys have gotten in here. So when you just wait a little bit longer, and then you get your 2-2 reversal on here, and then you go to the daily. There you go. The outside, what was that outside? Yep, by 1 penny. Stop them out. Boom. 3-2-2 and back off to the races there. So that's real nice on that. If we go to TSEM on the weekly, inside, and then once it went green, boom, now it's going to be an outside bar, which it was. And if that works, reconfirms the RevStrat month, right? And we still had another day up from that, so that's going to be like a lot of things, we're running out of month, so we'll see how that goes. We go to Spotify. Spotify still inside month, but coming up closer. So anytime you can see these lower highs and you start coming after them and you already have your lower lows, we're looking to take these guys out and give us our broadening formation, right? If otherwise, what you might have is a lower series. But when we have these full time frame kind of to the upside, we want to look to take this stuff out. When we have 60-minute reversals into the upside, we're going to look to take that out. If you go to 60, let's say the daily, this is nice here. Right here, here's how you get in on this. 2 up, taking that high out, 2 down. 2 down, boom, right here. Then we're going to come back to the previous range and no lower low on the daily as yet. So we'll see if we can come up on those guys. If we go to Massimo, MASI, this is still 3-2 month to the upside, all right, outside. There was your stop them out. There was your 2-2 last week, just didn't get going until now to try and form the outside bar of this, and hopefully that. So we'll see if there's more to it. WB, inside week to the upside. Not many people can say that, or not many things can say that. So we'll see. It's also taken out last month's highs. It's a RevStrat. It's just a little tight in there. But anything we can do like that, we can stay on the downside, you lift. We've known about this inside month and down, right? And then they had news out of Cal that there might be some problems for them. So here was the pop them up, the 2 up day, 2-2 reversal to start the week. And when that kicks in, if you don't get a reversal, you're going to take this stuff out and become an outside bar of all that. You see? So that was real nice and lift. On the 60, just melted out all day. And so knowing how to get down to lower time frames. So here, this was a 2 down. This is an inside bar. Here you go, right back down. This is a continuation inside here. If you go to a 5-minute, you just wait for them to pop their head up, pop its head up, like right here, RevStrat fiber. Inside, stop them out, boom, you're in. Range, inside, pop them up, stop them out, boom, and that's how you can get in on these grinders, knowing how to do that. And also, as I've been showing you, when something starts to change color and go back through previous range, you can look for the outside bar, like here. Takes out some highs, goes red, we're going to take these guys out, which it did. And then you can just follow it all the way down. APPN. And APPN, potential big shooter month. All right, it's coming all the way back down. And you had your inside week last week. Boom. There's your 2-1-2 reversal on the weekly, right? And coming down very nicely. Slammo and coming back through previous range, right? So I'd keep an eye on that, see if we can get more setups out of that. The DraftKings, been talking about this for a while. More new lows for the month. Always want to be starting at that month. This thing is potential outside month, right? It's got a much better chance of being outside than it has anything else, right? Just running out a month. So we'll see. And unless you have a reversal against you, which you don't, you had the Rev Strat up in here, right? But so far on the weekly, 2, 2, 2, 2. You haven't had any reversal against you. All right, so far that's still good. DXCM today, and still tight range on the weekly and all this kind of stuff, but it does have the chance to do this here, take out last month's lows, and sometimes you just get lucky where you don't have to go down to the grind. You can just wait for the inside 60 right here, and then off she goes, and just let her puke. If we go to FLT, here, trying to go outside month, right? All this stuff is stuck in this stuff here. We know that. So when you look at this daily, this was real nice. Because slight higher highs can give you broadening formation because things broaden, right? Here was your 2-2 day yesterday. Puke. Now look to take all these guys out to finish off the broadening formation. Higher high and a lower low to give us the outside month, right? So just let it get crushed, and then when they go down, you can find yourself. What is that? A little inside 60. And down she goes. If we go to CTXS. CTXS now. Right red on the month. We're running out of month, but you took all these guys out and started to keep going, and it was triggered by this. Here. The 2 up, 2-2 reversal back to previous range last week. Got it going. And then when you get to the daily and say, oh, I think it's going to recover. As soon as it goes red, we're going to go outside bar of that. 1 bar Rev Strat right there, which it did. If we go to AVGO. And AVGO is an inside day today with the SMH and the Qs and all that kind of stuff. And you can see the higher high. Like so. The question is, where's the lower low? Like the hopes is all the way back through here because potential now outside month. And you're red on the month. All right, so we could hopefully get through all that as it starts off the week as a 2 down again, coming back through this range. And now, so we can definitely watch that with the SMHers, Qs, and all the inside days if we start to break to the downside. Other than that, if we run our scans here, here's our list of inside weeks to the downside. So we know there's going to be a lot of banks, Citicorp, Wells Fargo, Boeing, as I talked about in the Strat Time report, the XLI having some problems, right? That's going to be your Honeywells, your LMTs, right? Your mini mines, all that kind of stuff. You also have Pandemics, RCL, analog devices to keep an eye on, McDonald's in the Dow, John Deere, all this stuff is inside week to the downside. So exhaustion week, earnings coming out, election, all that kind of stuff, and inside months almost for sure, and then the real game begins. We want to know which side of these months start to get taken out in November. So maybe the election will have something to do with it. Maybe it'll be COVID news. Who knows? But we don't have to predict. We just trade the strat. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith the Black Channel here at Ticker Tiger with Strat Attack.